Hello guys, this is Revolution. On this video we are going to be discussing events in Dragon Ball Super 124 and the upcoming episode next week, episode 125. So I'm just going to give you a warning right now. If you do not want to be spoiled, if you haven't seen episode 124 yet, do go and watch it because it's a very good episode. Then do come back because we've got some important things to discuss in this video. So, there will be spoilers, you have been warned. If you are watching beyond this point, I can only assume you're happy to be spoiled or you've seen the episode. So guys, Dragon Ball Super is indeed coming to an end on March the 25th. Episode 131 will be the last episode of Dragon Ball Super. However, ever since Dragon Ball Super episode 121, Dragon Ball Super's been on a hot streak lately. Episode 121 started with the fight against Anaraza. Then obviously we had the Vegeta fight against Jiren. Then we had the Vegeta transformation against Jiren. Then we have today's episode, which also was a very, very good episode. And it featured Frieza vs Dyspo and ultimately Ultimate Gohan joined in. Now this was a very good fight. I've got to say guys, I gave Gohan a lot of stick after last week's episode, but the boy stepped up this week. I honestly thought, going off the spoilers, that 17 was going to sack off Gohan for being useless, but he made the decision himself. He made a leader's choice, went over to help Golden Frieza, and masterminded the elimination of Dyspo. Unfortunately, Gohan went with Dyspo. He practically copied Android 17's tactic against Toppo last week, where he drew Dyspo in and got caught by him, so Frieza could literally create a field of destructive energy so that Gohan could fight Dyspo in enclosed quarters. So there was a reason for this intuitive strategy. This is because Dyspo is incredibly fast. He is massively faster than the speed of light. Even faster than light, characters like Gohan and Frieza understood that without negating Dyspo's speed, they could not keep up with him. It wasn't to do with power, it was simply to do with speed. I've said multiple times before, you cannot beat what you cannot hit. It's in the same regards to Ultra Instinct Goku really. Obviously Goku's reaction speed is what defines Ultra Instinct. But if you cannot hit something that's too fast, there is no way to damage them, even despite a power advantage. Now I've also said multiple times throughout my recent videos that there are things that can negate power. We often look too much into how much power has been increased by each certain character, but there are techniques, abilities, and even different races' anatomy can serve as equalizers to a larger power. And that's exactly what happens here. Dyspo's speed serves as an equalizer to especially Golden Frieza's larger power. Upon realizing that he is outpowered, Dyspo then goes at full speed, and an interesting thing happens here because Belmod, the God of Destruction of Universe 11, calls this last-ditch move Super Maximum Light Speed Mode. I will say that again, Super Maximum Light Speed Mode. He doesn't just say this once in this episode, he says it twice. Super Maximum Light Speed Mode. Well, what would minimum light speed be? Well, light speed. What would maximum light speed be? Well, immeasurable light speed. And they even add the word super in there to emphasize that this is maximum light speed. It is immeasurable light speed. So if any of you remember episode 104 when Dyspo was fighting against the legendary assassin Hit, they say Dyspo has surpassed the speed of sound and light. Even though they were clearly talking past tense there, a lot of people seem to use that as a bat to beat Dragon Ball with and say these characters have not been travelling at light speed all along. But I will repeat it again, Super Maximum Light Speed Mode. Emphasis on the maximum. So the very definition of maximum is as great, high or intense as possible or permitted. So if this was talking about the self, about Dyspo himself, it would be called Dyspo's maximum speed. It wouldn't include the word light speed. It is talking about the maximum amount of light speed possible. Why do I not say infinite light speed? Well, because that would be instant. In reality, this just proves what us Dragon Ball power scalers have been saying all along. Anyway, as I was saying before, Frieza and Gohan narrowed the field of movement for Dyspo. As Frieza worn out from this fatiguing move that he was pulling off, Dyspo almost broke free, but then Gohan caught hold of Dyspo And it was a role reversal of what happened last week, like I said earlier, where 17 had hold of Toppo and Gohan had to eliminate them both. This time it was Gohan who had hold of Dyspo, and Frieza did not panic like Gohan did and got the job done. But in my humble opinion, Gohan went out on a high. Gohan didn't get that transformation a lot of us were prognosticating, but he did actually have a good tournament. He was responsible for the erasure of 2 universes, Universe 10 and Universe 6. I say responsible, but what I mean is he delivered the final blow to those 2 universes. And he managed to eliminate a very dangerous foe in Dyspo. Anyway, obviously, this was the end of the episode. It leads on to the preview to the next episode. And boy, I am looking forward to episode 125 of Dragon Ball Super. The main thing I'm actually looking forward to is just seeing Android 17 and Frieza convene with each other. Before this tournament, neither of them had ever met. Android 17 does know about Frieza because of Dr. Jiro's remote tracking devices that he sent around to scout the Z Warriors, which also caught up on Frieza when Frieza came to Earth after the Namek saga and was ultimately killed by future Trunks. But it definitely will be interesting to see the dynamic between them both, considering Android 17 did used to be evil. He has changed, of course, he's a very different person to what he was back then, but Frieza is by and large the same kind of evil being he was back in the Namek saga. Of course, they will be dealing with the leader of the Pride Troopers, Toppo, in episode 125, who is basically a really good guy fighting for the antagonists in the show. Obviously, Universe 7 are the protagonists because that's where Goku is from. Goku's the main character. But you cannot question Toppo's ideals because he believes in justice and fairness. And here he is fighting against 2 beings who have had evil intentions in the past or still do have evil intentions. It's going to be a very interesting fight, this is. We do know from the preview that 17 and Frieza are going to almost eliminate Toppo, which is an incredible feat considering how powerful Toppo is. But as we know from spoilers in the last few weeks, we know that Toppo is going to ascend in power. We even see this in the previews to the next episode. Toppo usually has a red aura, that's what we saw him use in the Zen exhibition against Goku, but here we see him with that pinky purple God of Destruction aura. The title of the episode is even entitled With Imposing Presence, God of Destruction Toppo Descends. So I have theorised, and I think some others have now as well, that Belmont will retire in the Tournament of Power itself and hand down the role of God of Destruction to Toppo, which will give him a power increase. That is still the case, and I believe that's quite a likely case. The only other imaginable thing I can think of in this scenario is that he's only going to be demonstrating the fruition of his training to become a God of Destruction. Though I do find the fact they are calling him a God of Destruction in the title for the next episode, I personally am of the opinion that he will become the God of Destruction. Let me know your thoughts on this, guys. Do you believe he will be given the God of Destruction role, or is it just the amount of power he is able to put out? Anyway, whatever way you look at it, it's going to mean bad news for Frieza and 17. And even with teamwork, a powered up God of Destruction level Toppo is simply going to be too much for 17 and Frieza. I can definitely see one of them being eliminated in episode 125. That's just me speculating. We've not had any spoilers concerning that yet, so just take that with a pinch of salt. Do you think that? And if so, who do you think it will be? So episode 124 was a very good episode, and I am really looking forward to episode 125, but the reality is Dragon Ball Super is ending. Nothing has been decided on a future Dragon Ball series. Judging by the community reaction, it hasn't gone down very well. There are still some people in denial about it ending. It is ending, but the reaction also does point to another thing as well, is that Dragon Ball Super has left its mark. It has been a good show in some regards. Those people still complaining that it's a bad show and still watching it 125 episodes in, actions speak louder than words. If you really truly didn't like it, you would have stopped watching it ages ago. Pipe down. I have thoroughly enjoyed Dragon Ball Super. Don't get me wrong, I do not think it's a perfect show or anime, but neither was the original Dragon Ball and neither was Dragon Ball Z. In fact, I don't think I've ever seen a perfect anime, and I've seen quite a lot of them. I truly do hope we get another Dragon Ball series. I don't feel like the story is complete or finished yet, but Unfortunately, it's not within mine or your power to decide whether it will be. But all I can say is there are 8 weeks remaining of this tournament. Enjoy it whilst it lasts. I went decades without a Dragon Ball series on air, and trust me, you will only miss it when it's gone. So enjoy these last few episodes. And of course, we have the movie in December. In terms of my channel, Revolution, I went back to the drawing board the other day just to see what kind of videos I can release post Dragon Ball Super, and I can tell you I have 300 plus video ideas that don't even rely on Dragon Ball Super episodes. Those video ideas are all Dragon Ball related. This channel is going nowhere. It will always be a predominantly Dragon Ball channel. However, I did ask the other day, which animes would you like me to cover? Should I cover anything else on this channel? The response, as ever with you guys, was amazing, and I will be looking to cover Saint Seiya, Boruto, Godzilla series in the near future on this channel, and possibly other animes as well. I'm a big fan of Hunter x Hunter. I am also still looking out for other animes I could cover. By all means, let me know in the comment section. This channel for me is just as much your channel as it is mine. I definitely take your feedback into consideration, but do not worry, the Dragon Ball content will keep rolling. In fact, some of these video ideas I have will blow your minds, so this is why you should be subscribed to the channel if you're not. Lately, there's been some people asking for a face reveal. Well, you can actually see my face on my Instagram account. Go follow me on there and you'll be able to see what I look like. And also follow me on Twitter where we can talk about Dragon Ball even further beyond what we discuss in these videos. Keep hitting that like button, lend me your energy. I need you now more than ever. Subscribe if you haven't subscribed. Until next time, Ad Astra.